Okay, hi guys. My name's Anna. Hopefully I've met all of you before. So, just quickly about myself. Many people ask me what I do. And besides doing risk assessments, emails, more emails, and sending people on projects, the thing that I need to do this year is to make sure there's a positive impact in the community, that everything that we do makes a positive impact, make a positive impact on our students and the experience that they gain from action, and make sure that both sides love each other and that everything runs well. But what do I want to achieve this year? So, the things that I want to achieve this year is to improve volunteer opportunities, enhance volunteer development, and broaden volunteer recognition. Now, the reason why improving strategic planning is in the core of this is because those three aims have actually been rooted from improving strategic planning. So, if I just elaborate. So, I've just said so like 5 times. I won't. In the previous kind of years, my kind of understanding of creating a strategic plan is that it comes from the executive officer and that they create it on basis of their manifesto to make sure that they're credible to what they've said they were going to achieve, their experience in the section, and also the crucial handover time that they've got with their predecessor, and any kind of previous strategic plans that they've been snooping around the old folders. But this year, what I've done is I've introduced Action Committee Strategic Planning to make sure that whatever I want to achieve comes from what the committee want to achieve as well. So it's not just my vision for the year, it's their vision for the year as well. And to add on to that, their strategic plans have the project leaders' plans for the year and the hall reps. Now obviously it's a little bit more difficult with hall reps because they change twice a year. But on our weekend away next week, I'll be doing quite a few bits about strategic planning for our hall reps to make sure that as much as we do is amazing, we keep developing and the section keeps growing and getting better and better. And as well as that, the feedback from our volunteers and the things that they've enjoyed or not enjoyed are taken on to the kind of committee strategic planning as well to make sure that at the end of the year, my plan doesn't just include my stuff, but it also includes what the committee want to achieve, what their project leaders want to achieve, what the hall reps want to achieve, and what the volunteers said about the section as well. So it's as representative as possible. As part of my strategic planning and committee training, I've asked my committee to prepare a 3-year plan for the section and action. So, each of them delivered a few-minute presentation, sorry guys, about how they would see what would action look like in 3 years if they came back, and what would this section look like if they came back. And some of the things that I've received are actually quite interesting. So, for example, I want more overseas projects that are more accessible. I want to see newer and more A-teams. I want the website to suggest projects for you based on your interest, based on your degree, based on just general kind of things that you want to do as part of, Loughborough. Air conditioning in the office is definitely one that we need to include. But also, things like feedback through text messages. How easy would it be if you went on an action project and you received a text message saying, what did you like, what did you not like? And it would just be a few minutes kind of reply, and we could get that feedback straight away and we could implement that straight away. But one that I felt quite personal with is an action hub. How amazing would it be if we had a new building, new Students' Union building, that Action had their own section on the ground floor, that students could walk in, talk about volunteering straight away, and get in there straight away. Because sometimes walking up the stairs into the office can be quite daunting, and it is kind of like an invisible barrier to some students. So getting rid of that would be an amazing start to make an Action a better section, even better section, of course. So, as I said, one of my biggest things this year is to improve volunteer opportunities. So, firstly, I would like to collaborate with sections within the union. And we already do that on many projects, but one of them being Nightline, where the volunteers support the community by providing them with advice and listen to them if they're having a difficult time. Another one that I would like to include this year is be part of Lewis's Keep Calm Week. So instead of, going out on a Friday night getting absolutely smashed, go out on the Wednesday afternoon and do a project, do a dog walking project, go on a project with the elderly where you teach them how to use Microsoft Word or how to FaceTime on their brand new iPad, so that they can just do a project and then come back to revision, but get away from that for an hour to kind of calm down, have some fun, and then, you know, get on with it again, because obviously we know exams are stressful, so we don't want to put too much time into things that don't include it. We've already had projects with AU. So for example, we've had the cheerleading girls come in to do a session with the nursery, which was the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. But as well as that, the media team have kindly agreed to produce the Student Volunteer Week video for next year, which is an amazing collaboration project, but also it's a fantastic way for us to get national recognition for what we do, because it's a national initiative, so all the eyes will be on Loughborough, which is what we do love. Next thing is engage more international students. So this will be achieved by supporting my international officer and her project leaders, but also working with the global development officer to make sure, sorry, my apologies, national development officer, with Marina to make sure that those links are created and that we know, excuse me, that just despite the fact that we have those opportunities, the international students know about those opportunities, especially when it comes to things like DBSs. Now, a lot of our international students, unfortunately, can't get a DBS because they need to be in the country for at least a year. So we need to make sure that the volunteering opportunities that we provide will match their criteria, so it doesn't need a DBS, but they can still be involved with the section. Next one is, I'm sorry for my voice, I am ill. I'm not just really high-pitched. Next one is postgraduate involvement. Obviously, it's great that we have Georgian Post because he's a great communication channel for postgraduates. But also, it's about the improved relationship with John Phillips Hall. Now, I've met the committee last week, and actually a lot of them is the first time at Loughborough, so we need to understand that, and we need to make sure that we tell them about the system, tell them about Action, and help them to be able to progress as much as the other halls do, because a lot of them have experience with Action, have experience with other sections, but with John Phillips it's a little bit different, so we need to make sure we support them in that sense. One way to also advertise Action to postgraduates is through an article that essentially aims to show them what can Action do for them. So my aim for this year is to make sure that, for example, if you're interested in research with young children, we can help you do a project with young children, or if you're interested in dementia research, we have a project called Forget Me Not that works on that as well. And it's a fantastic way for them to link their academic interest with an extracurricular activity as well. Next one is increased engagement from the college. So it's fantastic that Josh has now got a committee where he can rely on them to recruit more volunteers. But also, it's about working with the career services in the college to make sure that they act as a support link as well, to make sure that when the college students sit in front of their personal statement and think, oh God, what have I done? That Action can be one thing that they can put on there and really use the things that they've learned and they've experienced in the section. One of the important things about the college as well is the presence. So having a presence in the college is crucial for engagement. For example, one thing that I would like to do this year is to not only be a visible person in the college myself, but also get my committee on board as well, for them to answer the questions that the students may have and offer, you know, different opportunities that I may not come up with straight away. And London and staff engagement. So London's a very, very new kind of remit for us. Nevertheless, we have a fantastic Action rep. I spoke to her yesterday on Skype, and she's so enthusiastic. And my job is to make sure that I train her and I give her enough information about the section so that she can act like me in London. She can coordinate the projects, she can run them, she can organise them, she can recruit the volunteers, and she can help the section grow, basically. And I think that would be fantastic. For example, we spoke about the food drive. We do a food drive in London, in Loughborough. Let's do one in London. It will be a fantastic opportunity to work together, but also give her the ownership of that. And staff engagement is a very new section for us as well, because the person responsible for staff engagement is no longer in post. So what do we need to do to fill a gap? Is create a project leader kind of position for staff engagement. So they will be responsible for helping more staff members know about Action and help them get involved. But also what I would like to happen is not just to organise projects for staff only or students only. It's about working together as well, so that the student may come across a staff member that they've never met before, but may find that they're actually really interested, and they may be interested in their research or whatever they do as a career. So, improving volunteer opportunities, we have already started doing that. So LSU Action Needs You, many of you may have not come across it because it's an inter-hall competition that we've launched for our reps to challenge them. So the aim of the campaign was to increase involvement of postgraduates, international and staff members. So they would get different points for bringing a different amount of, for example, postgraduate students. But also, this campaign was aimed to tackle dropouts. During exam season and coming up to exams, it is difficult sometimes for our hall reps to recruit. So let's give them an incentive. Let's give them, a little bit of a competition side of things, where they can work against each other. But also, it's about proposing projects, because it's great if I come up with an idea, but it's even better if our hall reps come up with the idea, go into the local community and think, oh, that garden looks like it really needs some work. Propose it and do it. Own their own projects, which is just fantastic to see sometimes. So that's LSU Action Needs You. We're going to find out which hall has done best on Sunday, which is really exciting as well. And also, it's about the friendly competition between halls. We know Loughborough's competitive, so let's just use it to our advantage and get the hall reps out there. My next thing is enhancing volunteer development. It is very warm in here. So that stresses the importance of all of the transferable skills that our volunteers, hall reps, project leaders, community get from action. It's not just about volunteering. You're doing much more than that. If you're a project leader, you're not just organising projects, you're leading a team, you're leading a section of your own. And that's so important to make them realise that. So, for example, these are just a few that I came up with. So communication, they have to be able to communicate with their volunteers. They have to be able to communicate with the rest of the team, with the committee, with myself, and it's just being able to make sure they know that they are achieving those things. As well as that, I would like to improve training that we offer. So the things that we do already is action training. So in that, I train my volunteers about recruiting people, organising projects, solving problems. We do also offer them inclusivity training, which is fantastic if you work with, for example, disabled people, so that you don't feel like they have to be separated from the rest. We want to make sure that the section is as inclusive as possible. And sensitivity training, because we do work with vulnerable people. We do work with people with disabilities and young people, and we need to know how to work with them in the future as well. The things that I'd like to introduce this year is mental health first aid, risk assessment training and employability workshops, so that they can really add to the list of the skills that they've gained through Loughborough, but also make sure that they are fully prepared of working with different types of people whilst being part of action. And I think it would be a fantastic thing for them to put on their CV at the end of their time at Loughborough as well. Loughborough Employability Award. One thing that I've learned is actually a lot of them completed pretty quickly. It's just about writing it up and submitting it. That's the important part of things. It's just another aspect that they can use, that add to their CV, that they can just show off with, that, I've completed these things, these are the skills that I've gained from it, and it's so important to have. And at the end of the year, I want to make sure that my committee have it, my project leaders have it, and my hall reps have it. And it's not just about, I think the main part of this is just getting them to do it, reminding them to do it, how important it is to do it, and pause. Pause. So, I've used pause as one of the things that I think it just sums it all up. So, pride in action, in yourself, in everything that the section represents. Ownership in your projects, in the volunteering, take it and just love it and be a part of it. Responsibility. Having responsibility really helps you to develop. It gives you something to work on. Reputation. Make sure you work hard to represent the section and make sure that the people who get involved with it do give it the best reputation it can have. And satisfaction. Be satisfied with your work. Make sure that people love the section and want to come back, and they kind of engage as many people as possible. Because the thing with action is, many people say, oh, I don't really want to do action, but once they go on one project, they're like, oh my God, Why has it only taken me 3 years to realise how amazing the section is? So that's what I want to do this year. Pause. So broadening volunteer recognition is also one really important aspect for me this year, because I think the way that we recognise our volunteers now, like we do every year, is fantastic. Action Awards is just such a special evening for everyone to say thank you, to say well done. For many of us it would be to say goodbye. As well as that, having the league table, it's great to see how many hours we do, how many volunteers we have, what kind of projects they have. It also helps with the whole competition side of things. But for me, it's not just about the big thank yous at the end of the year. For the section to work well, we need to focus on the everyday thank yous, on the things that they've done particularly well on that project. One thing that I want to make sure that happens this year is that we receive feedback from the organisations that we work with. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, we can work on it, we can make it better. But it's just amazing coming back on the Monday morning to work and having an email from an organisation that we did a project with saying, thank you so much. Without your volunteers, it wouldn't be the same. We wouldn't be able to do as much as we did. One example that I want to particularly talk about is the RDA Wenlow horse riding school. We've only done, I think, 3 weeks of volunteering with them, but already, whenever I call them, I wish I could listen to it all day, because the things that they say is amazing. For example, the fact that the RDA Wenlow school is a horse riding school for disabled children to do a bit of horse riding, and a lot of the time it takes 3, maybe 4 instructors to actually do a session because of the kind of severity of the disability. Having action volunteers means that they can stop doing, the hay or surfacing or, the general kind of gardening things that the volunteers are great at, and actually focus on their students and help them with, the lessons. And actually experiencing one of the lessons, I must admit, I was speechless by the end of it. It's such an amazing thing, and having the volunteers support them on the kind of backstage of things is just so rewarding, and it's so rewarding to hear those amazing things. Another example, oh my goodness, another example is the Loughborough Echo article. This is, like I said, I'm so proud of the section because it was put on page 2. Now, amongst all the negativity that we get about students, the noise, the rubbish, everything else, having this on page 2 is like, see, we do amazing stuff in your face. So it's about that. It's about, making sure we say well done on a regular basis. We say our thank yous and just say how amazing the section is, and going back to the whole pride thing. You should be proud of what you do. You should represent the section as best as you can. Also, stressing the importance of social media. So Twitter, Facebook, it's kind of my job as well, but also I've created my committee their own Twitter accounts, but they can shout out about all the things that we do. And to be honest, most of the time you scroll through Facebook on a Friday morning when you're a bit bored, and you're like, oh, the action volunteers have done this and this and this and this, and that's great. And you've noticed that I've spoke about them. You didn't even realise you read it, but you have recognised it, and that's the unconscious kind of awareness of what's happening in the section, which I really want to make sure that we do this year. As well as that, I have worked with the marketing department to draft a certificate for our volunteers that have achieved over 50 and 100 hours of volunteering. Now, what I want this to become is a certificate signed by the university as well as the union to show the kind of bond and partnership that we have with them, but also having the Vice-Chancellor sign it, which he already agreed to, which I'm super happy about. It's just amazing, so that at the end of the time at Loughborough, our volunteers can go and say, look at this is a physical proof of the fact that I've done this, and it's amazing. And it's just a part of the way that I want to recognise them, to make it a very meaningful thing for them to be like, there you go. Next thing, a really big one for me this year as well is 20 years of action. So I'm so privileged to be the action exec person to experience that, to be the person to organise it. So next year, I want to do an alumni event for our old action chairs, for our old action volunteers, to come in and kind of commemorate all the amazing things that we've done. 20 years of volunteering, it's just incredible. And it's so important to shout about it and talk about it and be proud of it as well, because that's what the section's about. We want the section to be always recognised as something that we love being part of. So, enough of my creaky voice. Just to summarise, I want to improve volunteer opportunities, enhance volunteer development, broaden the recognition, and it's all from the improvement in the strategic planning. Thank you.
You talk about your committee, and you yourself sort of devising a strategy for like 3 years, or where you're going to see it in 3 years. Where's the contingency on that? What's to stop someone like Henry having a plan for 3 years and then next year's meeting person saying, I don't want to do that actually, and just bidding it off completely?
Well, it's about planting the seeds early. So making sure that we share the passion that we have for those plans and suggest to them. I mean, I'm not saying they have to do it next year, but it's about showing them the benefit of doing it next year. So that's how. Stop it. Yes, my love.
So, you know, you were talking about you want your volunteers to realise how much they appreciate it and stuff in the community. What do you do if it goes the other way? So if the community are sometimes rude and on projects and stuff to the volunteers, do you ever cut them off? At what point do you say no, we're not going to volunteer for you anymore?
Well, I have an example to use. In our first week, we went to the alpaca farm, and obviously that's a project that everyone loves. But the person there was being really rude towards my volunteers. It was pouring down with rain, and they were just not enjoying themselves. And at some point, I had to be like, right, I'm really sorry, but can we just go inside until it stops? And the woman was like, no, crack on. And I said, listen, we're volunteering, so that's first. Secondly, these people are here because they want to be here, so I need to make sure they want to come back as well. So it's I think I'm in nature quite sassy, so I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but you know, it's being able to make sure I stand up for my section and say, I'm really sorry, but the way you've done it is not what we believe in. It's not the values that we hold and, you know, carry with us. So that's it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, because I remember Rachel mentioned something to me, and I was just like, when do you actually say, no, we're not going to do anything for you anymore?
The minute you start questioning whether what you do helps the community is the moment you should start thinking about whether it's worth doing it.
Yeah.
So if the volunteers don't believe in something, then I need to really look closely at whether it's worth doing.